So I've got these here for you, bud.
Oh boy.
We'd love to sell you these 10 Guardians for $70, but I'd actually really much prefer if you bought these 5 Howling Banshees for $75. That'd be way better for us.
For you?
Yeah, like the company.
Oh.
Yeah.
But there's more in that one.
I know, but like this is better for us though.
Oh. You know what? These are cooler though.
It's easier to ship.
I'm the wrong person for this. I would rather have this.
You're like, I want this.
It's just less work.
Well, I mean, it works out then. That's Hey guys, welcome to another Lords of War Games and Hobbies video. I'm Chris. This is Jay.
What's up?
And today we want to talk about a topic that's kind of taken over, I'd say, in the last 3 to 5 years, probably like start of the pandemic to now.
It's been going on longer,
but really has sped up, I think, a lot more recently because of need, I guess, is the, and that's the topic of the idea that companies will basically try and sell you less things or smaller packages for more money or the same amount of money. Shrinkflation, I guess, is one way to call it.
Yeah.
And when I really first started to notice this was like in the trading card world with Magic, when they really started to push like more premium items. And when we say premium, we really mean like the value that they're trading off of in terms of like their customer experience. So like with cards, it's easy because they can be like, you get more rares, you get more like super rares. We made shinier cards. They're building their own value essentially. And we're talking like smaller packages, but like much bigger price tags.
Yes.
And we've seen that sort of trickle a little bit into the miniature world as well, with the trying to get packaging smaller. They've really tightened up their spurs over the last 5 to 7 years. The stuff is just amazingly like packed on the sprue now. And that's really to get the packaging smaller. And then with like we just talked about Scaventide recently, but that's that's obviously like a really big box, but it's packed to the brim and a lot more expensive than they've ever been before.
Yeah.
And I think that's the big thing is like, is Games Workshop okay selling less of something but making the same amount of money, basically, right? What do you think?
Yeah, no, I think they've been. I think this design or philosophy or whatever you want to call it has been a long-term one that started a while ago and is like kind of, not say complete, but. So for me, when Age of Sigmar came out, this was the defining moment because obviously they went from Warhammer Fantasy to AOS, and it was a big reason for the change was to make it more accessible. So armies needed to get smaller. So I don't know if it was like accidental that what happened in 40K after, or maybe they just decided it works or whatever. Is the average 2,000 points of Warhammer has like the number of models has gotten smaller that you need. It went from needing like 60 to 80 or 100 plus miniatures down to like 40s and 50s of things altogether, maybe even less depending on the army. And so I think it's been, but the quality has shot up. That's how they balance the equation, or they try to, is to say, and I think there's some truth to that. Like I'll get the occasional person that brings in like an old previous generation Trueborn Space Marine, like something from the 90s or early 2000s, and I'm like, that's cool. But I mean, in my opinion, it's like not even close. Like what a modern Primaris looks like.
Right.
So then
that's sort of like to the trading card example. That's sort of like making things shinier and more premium.
It is.
It's that kind of idea.
It is. Right? I think there's like a slight uniqueness with the. I mean, it's similar. Yeah, like a modern VIP collector Magic card is like it's really slick. It's like embossed and crazy, foiling on it. But just, I think the uniqueness of the hobby part is you are going to like spend a lot of time handling the piece. Like a card, you can stare at it, but you kind of put it in the sleeve, and you might like look at it for a minute or two. But the miniature, you spend like dozens of hours, like intimately like looking at it and painting it. And so I think that has worked out. Now I know I'm gonna get. I can already hear the comments from like the regulars that are gonna be like, oh, but it only costs 2 cents to make a mini.
Oh,
and,
the plastic warriors. Yeah.
That's fine. You guys can have your
get
thing.
your shots in. Libertarian USA
Libertarian. Yeah. That's great. Yeah, sure. No, I actually, for me, I personally really didn't mind the like getting less. At first it was like, it is natural to be like, save money. I'm just getting less, right?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
You know, when you get 3 heavy intercessors, or, you know, the 5 aspect warriors, whatever it is. But I don't know, for me, maybe because I've like done so many miniatures in my life, like just thousands of them, it was like, yeah, I'd rather just have less really good ones than hundreds of like average ones. I don't know what it is, but like, to me,
Well, you made this comment. I'm glad you brought up the fantasy AOS comparison. You made this comment a while back, which was that the price you pay for a full army is kind of, now it might be, you know, after a few like inflations and costing, it might be a little bit more now, but it hasn't changed that much.
it has not. Yeah.
Right? Like, and to your point, like the fact that you are buying less models, generally speaking, and of course we're working in averages here. I know there's a few armies that are still like absolutely ludicrous to collect, but for the most part, it feels about the same still as collecting like a massive Warhammer Fantasy Battle army. Or we used to say like collect just a new army was like $1,000. Like, and that was the same 15 years ago, and it's kind of
I mean, there's a lot of like, you could build 2,000 points of like more than like a good amount of armies for under that amount.
Yeah.
And we're talking like, and this isn't like a weird, like, these are like good armies, like whatever you want to call them, competitive tournament armies. Like, you're not having to, there's always exceptions. There's always like a Gene Cult or an Oryx or one of these like armies that yes, you can in theory take X times X of something that adds up to a lot, you know, but that historically has been there. You know, there was the Imperial Guard, you know, the old Astromontarum, you know, where you're buying your blisters of special guys 2 at a time for like $12-14 or whatever they were, metal, and you know, those exceptions do. But you know, in these days, like, often what they pack in those army battalions and battle forces, you're like, yeah, I want basically most of this, and maybe I might not use all of it in my tournament army, but I have other, you know, so that, and then I also do, this is like, obviously Chris and I are polished at selling miniatures at people, or to people, is that like, there's, you know, one of the arguments is going to be, you know, the living wage thing. You're like, well, because people have the price memory, and they're like, wow, it was only a few $100 those days. I'm like, yeah, but people made like $5-6 an hour or whatever. Like, you know, so I was trying to look at it in that. Yes, if you want to be pedantic and say, well, again, you're paying more, getting less plastic, fine. You can go take it home with you and whatever, you know. But I try and look at it as like, what is the hobby experience like? What is this whole
holistically?
Thing, what is it supposed to look like?
Because you're not like, let's be real. Like, when you buy something that's a hobby, you're not just buying the physical thing, right? No. A lot of time you're buying an experience, right? So that's a good way to kind of look at it. You have to take it all.
There's some costs that you just like have to accept. Like, I don't know, like whether it's cameras or tennis rackets or sports equipment. Like, sometimes you walk in and there's like the way it is, like, I don't know how to describe it, but like I got a new racket, like tennis racket, like 4 or 5 years ago, and it was like, they're like, the racket without the strings is X dollars, and then you gotta like buy this, and then there's shoes you gotta buy, and this you gotta buy, and I was just like, okay, like I was just like, this is what I need to get the, like, whatever you want to call it, like, a correct experience.
Well, and you wouldn't go into like, I'm sure there's people that go into that being like, oh, can I like use my other shoes instead, and can I, what, you know, is there a way I can get this thing differently, or can I get this cheaper? And like, the guy selling you the tennis stuff is like, like, just like our faces when you say that to us, it's like, sure,
you can use your
those
box
are
cutter
decisions.
Titan knife to clean your models.
But when you roll your ankle because your tennis shoe isn't as wide as it's supposed to be, you know, don't come back and complain to me.
I think there's something that I think for some reason we like. Not everybody, but some people have a challenge when it comes to the hobby stuff. Is they just they start being like, oh, this is adding up too much, and and they start diluting the experience. And it's like, you know, some of these things have been around for a while, and there's a reason that it's like, these are certain standards that you should like, you know, and you could apply it to just a jillion things, computers or consoles or whatever, you know, like you can buy the like, you know, official Switch Pro controller that costs $80, or you can buy this like random off-brand one, and you know,
It's your funeral.
one may have a worse warranty or have what do you call it?
You want latency when you
stick
try to
drift or
dodge an
latency?
attack?
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Drift.
I
Oh my
just,
God, stick
I
drift.
just like, yeah. So I think when you're new, especially, it's critical. Later on, when you're a veteran or you do the hobby a long time, yeah, you can start finding like, yeah, you know what, maybe I know what I'm doing now, or so. And you know, with the miniatures and Games Workshop, yeah, I think they have been. It's not a myth. They have been packing less models per box, but they have been also making models more impactful. I think generally. Now I know the Sister Battle players are gonna be like, "What about us?" or whatever. They just keep going down in points.
Oh man,
like,
really good for business, I guess.
It is,
oh,
yeah.
Every time they have a War Scroll update or whatever the hell they call them for
Data sheets, yeah.
40K. The guys all come in there like, I guess I need to buy two more kits
two
or
more kits.
Yeah.
And they already have armies, so they're like, I'm not going to stop.
No.
Yeah. No, it's this is a lever that they do manipulate a little bit. Obviously, when they want to sell certain things, but I think on average, it's I don't know what people think. I don't mind it. I don't mind getting less but cooler models overall.
Yeah, I think ultimately, when I consider it, I do try to consider what's my experience like, and like you said, as a painter first, how can you not love the quality of the models, right? Mm-hmm. And if especially like people that have been in the hobby like more than 5 years and actually paint their models, I always say that, because like some people just don't paint them, so like for them maybe this isn't a completely different conversation, but maybe they're just like, yeah, I want more toys. It's like, okay, yeah, fair enough.
Sure.
But what more toys doesn't get you more experience always. That's the thing, right? You're trading off on, right?
Yeah.
Because Games Workshop is literally writing it into their rules that like you need less. So having more doesn't necessarily make your experience better.
No. Yeah.
But yeah, from a painter's side, I get to spend a bit more time on them. I get to really make them look nice and polished. Like these guys are on the desk right now. I'm painting 3 Annihilators. Like it's just what a great experience, right? They could have made this unit just like Terminators in 40K. They could have made it 5, but it's 3.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
That's kind of
I'm okay with
they're
that.
about Terminator size.
I don't feel sad that there's not 2 more models
and,
here.
A decade ago, that would have been, whatever, the equivalent would have been 10 Chosen Warriors or something. Like that would have been the kind of the smallest elite unit in the youth field.
Yeah.
And, you could have spent, you could have spent maybe less, or same dollars and gone 3 times or twice the minis, but like, again, I think in game terms and hobby terms, it's like, it's fine. Like, and if you want the really grand, scenic thing, you've got the video games. You can still buy billions of minis or find ways to do that. But I think for the game part and then for growing the hobby, I think it was a necessary thing. You have to just like, you see it all of the whatever you want to call it, top or most popular modern miniature. Almost every single one of them has gone this, like they're either skirmish games or they're. Or if they are more of a war game, they're just less. It's like, well,
it's funny, you see companies get this wrong too, right? Like I think of Atomic Mass Games a little bit here. They're like packaging and like what they do for their like little hero kits are great because they're small, almost like video game sized. But with like all their terrain kits and everything like that, they're so oversized, all the boxes. When you open them up, like you have all this extra cardboard and space, and the sprues aren't efficient. And there's an example of a company that could do a better job at like, getting more margin back by shrinking the packaging down a little bit and having, because at the end of the day, every time they have to ship that product and it takes up more space in a box, that cost gets to us, that gets to you. Yeah. And ultimately it means they make less money as well.
That's true. There's a thing, yeah. Yeah, I know. We're always like, it's like the driest thing. We're always talking about packaging here and how it matters. Like, it matters a lot. Even Corvus Belli Infinity, I'm looking over there, they've been slimming their boxes down as much as they can recently. And
that's actually an interesting
to make
point.
The footprint a little smaller. Like, historically in retail terms, a fat honking box is like supposed to delineate like value, or you combine that with some weight, which gave a nice both. Yeah. Size and weight. Giggity. You put it in someone's hands and they're like, okay, this feels like $300, and that was probably on purpose. But you open them up, and yeah, there is some, like, probably there is some, open ways to just, like, air, so to speak. I would say probably the only box I can think of that was truly, like, just sprues was the Horus Heresy 2-player box.
Oh man, yeah.
Is like you're like, holy moly, this just like the only cardboard in there is just to hold the rulebook from flopping around, and it's just sprues and sprues and sprues. And there's the other like end of the spectrum where I look at that and I almost like have to close the box back because it's just so it's terrifying how much work it is,
Yeah.
So I think there's a happy medium, but I don't.
What do you guys think about the new era? Like, do you feel like you're getting less, or do you feel like your experience has basically stayed the same over time? Like, obviously, comment about how long you've been in the hobby, so there's actually context to what you're saying. But and do you notice the box is getting smaller and thinner and sleeker, and that's something that doesn't necessarily affect the end user, but it's definitely a something that Jay and I talk about packaging, and something that obviously matters a lot to the bottom line for Games Workshop.
I'm sure there's going to be a healthy amount of people that are going to be like, when you pick up a wafer thin blister, that weighs nothing and it's $50, you probably are like,
there's definitely a feeling there, for sure. Yeah.
Even though like the impact of that model in the game terms could be like the same as 10 from a previous generation or whatever it is, or like you just don't need as many.
I won't lie, that I felt that before. Like some of the big monster kits in AOS have come in like really razor thin boxes, but they're still the same price as like the Greater Demon, right? So you're like,
I guess to add another like way of thinking about it is like, what about, I don't know, there's people, some of the older people that played some like of the older video games, like we're talking like the Warcraft 3 days or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like I remember that was the starting point in the Dawn of War days of like these war games or strategy games also slimming down. Like it was more about a few heroes and not giant armies.
Right.
And like making it more, or like if you think of like modern MOBA games, it's like a few powerful heroes with a lot of microwing and managing like specific skills rather than selecting and trying to move like tons of mini.
Ultimately,
like it's in every it's whether it's a video game or miniature game or whatever. Like the number of things has come down to make like a slightly more.
They want people to play it.
They want people to play it, and it seems So I'm curious how they felt about were those same people like oh, this game's weird. It's only a few guys. I don't get to control like a million guys or whatever. I don't know.
Oh, interesting. Maybe a topic for another video. That's cool.
Yeah.
If you like these sorts of videos, we do these a couple times a week, so make sure you like and subscribe. And if you really like it and you want to chat with us a bit more, we have a Patreon. You can check out patreon.com/lordsofwargames and hobbies. Until next time, take care, guys.
Thanks. Bye.